Keto Nana, 5 things that kicked me out of ketosis. Hey y'all, Keto Nana here to tell you about 5 things that kicked me out of ketosis. I mentioned in my earlier videos that I have had some ups and downs. December 24th will be my 8-week mark, 2-month mark, following the ketogenic lifestyle. But a couple of those weeks were not so good for me, and I want to share what happened so that hopefully you can avoid the same thing. So number one, the first thing that kicked me out, or that I noticed that kicked me out, once I was actually seeing my urine sticks changing color, and this was before I started checking blood. Stevia. I know everybody is different with their insulin resistance and what they can and cannot have. It's probably why, that's why I have cautioned everybody to, when they look at the keto blogs and look at those fabulous recipes, to think twice about the sweet ones, at least in the beginning days, while you're trying to correct some of your insulin resistance. So Stevia definitely kicked me out because that was the only thing I added. Like, I was going hardcore, no sweeteners, following my own, directions. And then I said, well, I'd like to have a sweetened cup of tea. So I got 2 different types of the Stevia, the liquid drops, and then the sweet leaf. And both of those are supposed to have less like processing ingredients in it, so they're supposed to be purer than Stevia in the raw, which can have a lot of crap in it. So I am going to test my response to Stevia again, but just be warned that it could have issues. So if you're going to try something sweet with Stevia, do a before and after test with your keto sticks and your glucose measurement. So do that. Erythritol doesn't seem to affect me. I just did a test today, and I'm going to post an entire series on what I did for erythritol. I did the before and after, like an hour after I had some in my tea. Then I'm going to just have cream tomorrow and do the before and after, and then the next day I'm going to have Stevia before and after, and I'll post and let you know what the results are. I really want to know, because since Christmas is, a week away, the more I've thought about it, the more I would like to have some kind of treat on Christmas. And I already kind of know which one I want. It's one of the mug cakes. It's a chocolate mug cake that I saw in Headbangers Kitchen. So, but I want to make sure that it's not going to adversely affect me. I don't want to have done all this hard work to blow it for, 10 minutes of enjoyment. So, just know that Stevia can kick you out of ketosis. If you're going to use it, do the testing and convince yourself that it's okay for you. Cold medicine was number 2. I had a terrible cold. In fact, I've really just gotten over it. It's a little bit of a frog, but mostly I'm over it. 4 weeks I had the damn thing. The first week I was so miserable. I was taking the Dayquil, the gel caps, not the liquid, the Dayquil day and night, because I needed something to get me to sleep. And I tested my ketones. I didn't do it the first 2 days because I was not feeling good. Really wasn't eating anything either. Third day I was, going to eat something. I said, all right, I'm going to test my ketones, my blood ketones. Nothing, not trace. And I thought, well, I was back to the thing, maybe I'm so fully adapted that it's not showing. That was a no, big negatory on that. I was not so fat adapted that there was no ketones showing up in. I had gotten my blood testing from Keto Mojo the day before, like while I was sick, and so I tested my blood, and it was 0.3. Y'all, it's not even light nutritional ketosis, which is 0.5 to 1.5. It was 0.3. It was like, so I was like, oh my God. So I stopped taking the cold medicine, which sucked because I was really still kind of miserable. I did read up that you could, there are some sugar-free ones, but at that point I was having such issues with Stevia and other artificial sweeteners that I'm like, I'm just going to deal with it. My body's going to have to heal itself for this cold, and we're just going to have to deal with it. So the next day, since I had been in solid ketosis before the cold medicine fiasco, basically not taking it for a day. And the next morning I took my readings and I was like inching up. I was like 1.1 in my blood ketones check. So I was like, that's great. And then I was seeing, you know, my other, my urine was back to what it had been before. So I'm like, okay, good to know. So you shouldn't jump to the conclusion that you're fat adapted and that's why you're not showing any ketones in your urine. Really, that's why you want to test your blood. Because I was not so fat adapted that there was none. It was the cold medicine, plain and simple. There are, like I said, there are some sugar-free cold medicines for diabetics. Might be okay. I didn't test them, so be careful. Be aware of that. Too much protein. I've mentioned before that on my previous foray into Atkins, I never went into ketosis, and I was very low carb, but I was eating a crap ton of protein, and protein can get changed into glucose. Glucose gets used up first. So that's why we use the apps, as I mentioned in 8 Tips for Newbies. Use the app. Keep track of your protein so that you don't go over whatever your allotment is for the day. I've also heard that actually, like let's just say you're having a cheat meal, you know, like if you have like excess carbs in one meal, that can actually kick you out, you know, like big time. So just be aware. I mean, we're having so few carbs, even if you had all 15 in for your dinner, it's not going to be a problem. But I'm talking about if you have like 50, it could really be a problem. Which 50 is still considered low carb. Alcohol can kick you out of ketosis. Told you I had my office party, and I did not have any alcohol. I did read, you know, I did find some blogs and information on the web of alcohol that you could have, like hard alcohol. It's pretty good. Like you could have gin, you know, or not rum. I wouldn't think rum would be good, but like vodka. But then you have to wonder what you're going to mix it with. If you can have like what's in Diet Coke, you might be able to have like, you know, I don't know, or a Diet Sprite or something like that. You might have to bring your own diet drink with you. Excuse me, to do it. But that's an option. The thing is, your body's going to use the alcohol first. It's going to break down, your liver's going to metabolize the alcohol. Your liver's not going to metabolize the liver. Your liver's going to metabolize the alcohol first, and then it's going to put a stall on your fat burning. So is it worth it? I don't know. It might be. You might want to do it if you're having like a beer, you know, with family on New Year's Eve or whatever. Fine. You know, you can do it. Just be aware that it might stall you a little bit, but you just jump back on the wagon the next morning and you'll be fine. And the last thing is stress. So when I was last on Atkins, I was having a really stressful time at work, big projects, not a lot of sleep, long days, you know, working 6 days a week and thinking about it on the 7th while I'm running around trying to do stuff for the family, and then feeling guilty and stressed out because of all the crap that I'm letting slide at home. And so that probably is another indicator, you know, another issue of why the high protein, definitely on Atkins, but stress too. I was very, very stressed the whole time I was doing it. I have not been stressed, you know, except for my cold and normal lifetime things. I have not been stressed so far on keto. But I, you know, have read that stress, of course, with cortisol and all that stuff, can definitely stall and kick you out of ketosis. So those are my 5 tips, things that that I've noticed for me, or that for keto or while I was on Atkins. Stevia, for sure, for me is a big no-no. I'm going to do the testing this week to see if I've changed at over 8 weeks. You're supposed to be able to, over time, you know, kind of correct your insulin resistance and become more sensitive. And so the idea or the goal is that I could actually have other things, not just swerve, because there can be some dietary or some kind of digestion irritation with erythritol for sure. Cold medicine, be careful. Read the labels of everything that you take, you know, over the counter or whatever. The liquids are definitely not good. Too much protein. Alcohol is going to stall you. There's, you can have alcohol, especially hard liquor, on keto, but just be aware that you're going to metabolize the alcohol first. And then stress. That's bad no matter what, but it'll definitely kick you out of ketosis. So until the next time, I wish you much luck. Take care of yourself and keto on.